Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, your Houston sports podcast for diehard Houston sports fans from a diehard Houston sports fan. I'm Paul Salazar Jr., your favorite diehard Houston sports fan podcaster, at least the one that you're currently listening to right now, and unless you're listening to two sports podcasts simultaneously, which, good for you if you could multitask that well. I am a punch-up writer, a punch-down writer, and creative multi-hyphenate. Of course, I'm also a Houston, Texas native, and I have the receipts to prove it. I remember Tal's Hill. Do you? I spent the last decade or so as a comedy writer in Los Angeles, and now I am podcasting. That's what happens when you hit 10 years out here. You turn vegan overnight, and you're given a podcast. Welcome to said podcast. This is what my brother calls the Paul Broadpod Ball Blog. Hey, brother. Check out spacecadetsports.substack.com for the full blog experience. Carla is here. She is crying already. Carla, it's not that part of the intro yet, but yeah, I am joined as always by my co-host and co-producer, the Roz to my Frasier. Carla, the dog, is here with me. She may get on mic from time to time on this podcast. She has the hot takes out of the two of us. I am the even-keeled one. She is the hothead. She's demanding an introduction earlier into the intro script than she normally gets. Normally I say something like I started the Space Cadet Sports blog and podcast as a passion project because most media is infuriating as a long-term diehard fan of the Houston Astros. Here we try not to be doom and gloom fans, nor do we try to be worse than national media haters. We love our Houston teams and we root them on deeply and dearly, but we also want to talk and discuss the ins and outs of the team without too much homerism. The key word here is that we try to do that. We try to be reasonable and not too hot-takey, obviously, because Carla has the hot takes here. On this episode, we recap the Astros series against the Padres and the umpires. We check in with the Astros playoff race, and then we double stuff this episode to get to Paul's picks, where every NFL week I release my picks to the public and show my receipts. Just a reminder that this is a comedy podcast, my gambling friends, but we still like to have some fun and we have a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. It was great baseball. Carla is already on the mic, very much excited about the Astros-Padres series. It was electric baseball. It was playoff baseball in September. However, the Astros dropped the series to the San Diego Padres. The Padres take the series 2-1. But let's kind of get to the Astros here in these 3 games. In the first game, we had a meme reaction on the blog. If you want to go to the Substack there, we had a meme reaction to this. So go there for the trauma memes if you need them. The Astros lose this game, and I can't believe they let their spaghetti spoil. They lose this game 3-1 to the San Diego Padres. It's a tough offensive night with just not enough offense nor enough good pitches to win this game. Carla is very cranky. I think she, like most Astros fans, is not very happy about the Astros dropping this series. I'm trying to talk her emotions down, so I'm obviously not just the voice of reason on the podcast, but I'm the voice of reason in this household. Carla is very frustrated right now. It was a very tough game. Carla agrees. The San Diego Padres are playoff ready. Both the fans and the roster. Petco Park there was was filled to the brim with fans and had a lot of people cheering them on there. This game was a bit of a pitching duel between Yu Darvish and Spencer Arrighetti. The Spaghetti Man had a really good outing. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, gave up a walk as well. Just 3 strikeouts in this game, and the most of the damage done here was off of 1 home run that Spaghetti let up. It was a great performance, an inning shy of being a quality start. Spencer Arrighetti picks up the loss on this game, his 13th of the year. Spencer Arrighetti has won some really tough losses on this season. And it just stinks because not only do the Astros need a win or want a win to kind of get this playoff hunt over with. Spencer Arrighetti's trying to play his way onto the playoff into the playoff rotation, hopefully for him, but obviously more than likely he's pitching his way onto the playoff roster. So he obviously did very well, but it was a tough one for Spaghetti. That home run that he gave up to the Padres, Jack Jurickson Profar, his 27th on the to Jack Merrill. Jackson Merrill, sorry. He gave up a home run to Jackson Merrill in the 4th inning. It was a solo shot, his 24th of the season. Sorry about getting my notes mixed up there. That obviously doubled up his earned run total and kind of made the game a little bit further away. Taylor Scott also let up a home run later in the game. But let's get to it. I'm jumping ahead. Let's get to Paul's Pen Pals. Let's check in with the bullpen here. After Spencer Arrighetti left the game after the 5th inning, Brian King came in the 6th. Brian King gave some length, going 1 2/3 of an inning pitch, giving up a hit. 1 walk was allowed, and he got 2 strikeouts in that time frame. Taylor Scott came in. Like I said, he did give up a home run, so that was good for 1 earned run and a run. Obviously, he gave up 3 hits in 1 inning pitched with 1 strikeout as well. And to close out the 8th inning, Caleb Ferguson was brought in, who gave up a hit, but also got out of the inning with goose eggs on his stat line. I'm sorry here. I'm going back here to the 8th because I really the whole game in the 8th was when the Astros finally got some offense going in this game against. Yu Darvish was very dominant in this game in the beginning of, and the bullpen of the Padres is really good as well. And at the top of the 8th inning, Tanner Scott was pitching for the Padres. Jose Altuve doubled, and Yordan Alvarez singled to get the Astros out of a shutout. Altuve scored 1-2 was the score at that point. But yeah, it was a tough game. Let's get to the offense. My notes are all jumbled up here, so let's get to the offense here for the Houston Astros. Let's check in there. Overall, the team only had 6 hits. They only struck out 4 times. So Yu Darvish was dominant, but it wasn't like he was blowing the Astros away with strikeouts. They only worked 2 walks, however, so it was just not enough hits. They were making some contact. They just weren't getting on base. They were low strikeouts. It's things you like to see, but you just kind of have to tip your hat to the opposing team's pitchers because they pitched so well in this game. Offensive standouts were Jose Altuve, who was 2 for 4 in this game. And really that's it. There were 6 hits, so the other hits there, 1 for 4 from Yordan on the day, 1 for 3 for Tucker on the day, 1 for 4 for Jason Hayward, and 1 for 2 for Doobie. Dubon started in center field for this game. You liked the lineup. It was Altuve, Yordan, Yanner, Tucker, Bregman, Caratini, Pena, Hayward, Dubon, to round out the rest there. So it was. I liked that lineup. It seemed to be a good lineup. Just Darvish pitched really well. Looking at Darvish's stats here, Darvish went 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, only got 3 strikeouts, but that was more than enough damage done, and only walked 2 batters. So Darvish picked up the win there, battling the Astros, and just not enough offense from the Astros, but dominant pitching performance from the San Diego Padres in that game. In the second game, the Astros won 4-3. The Houston Astros won. It was a tough one. It was a long one. The Astros outlasted the Padres and the umpires in extra innings in one of the worst called games I've ever seen. It was just insane. I had to write about how bad the officiating was on the Substack. You can check that out, spacecadetsports.substack.com. I really... I was so furious with the way that it was officiated. It wasn't just, there's been some conspiracy theories going around. We'll kind of get to it at the end here. But, it was just bad calls all around. I can't believe that game had so many bad moments. There was a Jose Altuve ejection, a Joe Espada ejection. It was dramatic. It was must-see TV. It was playoff baseball is going to have a lot of passion and energy, and it's going to be a lot of drama, but not like this. This was like the circus was in town with all the clowns that were there, and they were all wearing umpiring uniforms. Umpiring is a really tough job. I'm already going off on my rant, but we can't do that right now. Let's get to the game, and we'll kind of talk about that more later. This game was a great win for the Houston Astros. Obviously not winning exactly the way we would want to win a game. It was much more dramatic. There was so much more craziness going on that wasn't great. But the Astros got the W, and that's what's important. As an afterthought to all the baseball that was played in this game, most of us focused on the officiating, but in this game, Hunter Brown, Diesel went up there and had a really good start, kind of reminiscent of Spaghetti in his previous start. Diesel had a really good start that was overshadowed by giving up a home run that if he would have just had that home run back, it would look a whole lot better. Hunter Brown does get the quality start officially, though. He went 6 innings pitched and only gave up 2 earned runs, 2 off of 5 hits, 1 walk, only 3 strikeouts, and obviously that 1 home run. So this team is a team that likes to hit, is not going to strike out or try to get into some bad counts. The Padres were a tough lineup for our pitchers, but for I think all pitchers, truly, they've had a great season. Let's might as well just keep going here. Let's check in with Paul's pen pals here. Let's check into the bullpen. The 7th inning was pitched by Brian Abreu, who has been dominant in September, who has been on a roll as of late. He did walk a batter, but he got a strikeout, not giving up a run. Next in the 8th inning, was Presley came in and he pitched 2/3 of an inning. He gave up a hit. He got a strikeout, but he did give up a run. He did pick up his 22nd hold of the season, and that's when, the game was already going crazy, but it got a little crazier at that juncture. Josh Hader was called in. San Diego fans went crazy because Josh Hader obviously only pitched the 9th inning. In San Diego, he did not want to pitch the 8th inning or do the stretch save in any kind of situation. So Hader getting called in a little early for Presley, who was having a little bit of trouble there, was a sore subject for San Diego Padre fans. So Hader got a lot of hate there. There was a disengagement from Hader that was called as a pitch clock violation and led to one of the weirdest moments of the game where the officiating crew needed to do a rules check and slowed down the game for about 3 minutes. Hader got a little cold. He just really missed his mark, whatever way you slice it. The first pitch Josh Hader has out there on the mound, he spikes into the ground. It's it goes sailing to the wall, and the runner on third came home to tie the game up, and that is a blown save. Hader's third of the season. However, Hader does pick up the win, pitching the next inning. Hader went 1 1/3 of an inning altogether, picking up 2 strikeouts on his performance. He also picks up the win, and the save goes to Hector Neris, who came in for the 10th inning here, picked up a walk, and got a strikeout, but it was heart attack Hector for sure, but not completely his fault. It was... This officiating crew was just all over the place. Let's get to the offense. We can talk about the Altuve ejection. Altuve and Espada were ejected in the ninth inning, in the top of the ninth. Jose Altuve grounded out, but it wasn't a ground out because it wasn't a fair ball. It was a foul ball off of his foot, and once again, just like in the Mets series where a foul ball was called fair off of his foot, and there was no way to review it, or they didn't. I don't know what the situation truly is here, but the ball was obviously fouled off of his foot. Something I believe Espada said after the game, maybe it was Altuve. There's 4 guys out there. It's their job to kind of pay attention, and there was obviously a change in the course of direction that the ball took, but nobody was paying attention. Nobody caught it. Nobody seemed to care. It's kind of silly and lazy officiating when that's obvious what happens there. So Jose Altuve on the day goes 1 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. He was ejected from the game in the 9th. Greg Kessinger came in to replace Altuve. Joe Espada was ejected at that moment too. We have that meme there. You could see, Jose Altuve, very much here in Hollywood, got Quentin Tarantino all excited when he showed his feet there to the umpires to try to prove that he got hit. Going barefoot there. The officials did not like it. They are prudes. They're obviously were scandalized by Altuve's bare foot. They ejected him from the game. That was the whole event there was so dramatic and so silly. I can't believe it, but I can't believe that that's how the Astros got out of that inning. That seemed like that could have been the winning moment for the Astros. Obviously, they went on to win this game in ball don't lie fashion. In extra innings in the 10th inning. Kyle Tucker singled on an RBI line drive. Greg Kessinger, who was on second, moved to third earlier in the 10th, and ran home for the game-winning run off of that Kyle Tucker single. So the Astros did end up winning the game. There also was a situation with Jurickson and Profar on the in the 10th inning. There was nothing but situations in which the officiating crew really messed this game up. I'm trying to not dwell too much on it and just give you the facts here because I have a whole little segment about it later, and this podcast is packed full of information. I don't want to just make it all about me complaining the whole time, but the other situation that happened, or one of the other situations that happened, was Jurickson Profar was not hit by a ball, but they called a hit by pitch. Profar denied that it hit him and was mad that they gave him the free base, obviously thinking he would much rather have an opportunity to hit than a walk in the situation. But they awarded him the free base, loading the bases for Hector Neris in the 10th inning there, almost making it feel like this was going to be a tough loss for the Houston Astros. So it just was absolutely insane that in the replay you saw once again that the officiating crew got it completely wrong, but they doubled down on their mistake, and everybody around, it was just a bad look for not just for the officiating crew but for the league. But the Astros end up getting the W here, 4-3 in this game. And in Game 3 for the Houston Astros that ended just a little bit ago, the Astros unfortunately got shut out by Dylan Cease and the San Diego Padres. The Astros lose 4-0. truly feel like a time traveler because this feels like October baseball, only it's in September. This felt like such a heartbreaking loss. I had to remind myself that this isn't like the wild card or anything, that we didn't drop a series in the playoffs. We dropped a series in the regular season, and this team is just legit and deserves a lot of credit for going out there and pitching their tails off, just really shoving out there. The San Diego Padres pitchers did fantastic, and the Houston Astros hitters really had some good at bats, but generally just got beat in this series. I still believe in these guys, obviously, all season long. I have not been panicking. I'm not saying we panic now. They just dropped a series to a really good team, and I think this is kind of a good thing for the Houston Astros at this point. Statistically, they are expected to win the AL West. Statistically, they have been playing some good baseball as of late. They've been, fighting through some tough games to get some wins. And I think losing this series is a good reminder to these guys that the playoffs are real, and they're going to play some really good teams with really good pitching, and they're going to have to focus up and sharpen up a little bit if they're going to win some series in the playoffs. So, this team, they know what it takes to win games in the playoff. This team has been there before. So I think this is a good reminder to this team that the playoffs are here. It's late September, or it's mid-September now, going into late September. October is just around the corner. There's nothing but good teams in the playoffs. So I think this is great for the Houston Astros, to remind their hitters that this lineup 1 through 9 is going to have to be a lot more selective and have to really focus and sharpen up on some of those at-bats if they are going to do some damage against playoff-ready pitching. That's kind of, even though I really don't want to, today was a tough game at the office for Carla and I watching this game, watching the Astros get shut out. Let's briefly recap this game. Framber Valdez, if there's any kind of silver lining here, went out there and shoved. He picked up his 7th loss of the season, a loss he truly doesn't deserve, as this stat line is not a losing stat line. He did much better than Spaghetti and Diesel, but he still got beat by the long ball here. A rare home run given up by Framber Valdez in this game. In 7 innings pitched, he gave up 5 hits, gave up 1 run, 1 earned run off of 1 home run. He gave up just 2 walks, and he struck out 6 batters against the San Diego Padres lineup. This is incredible October pitching from our ace, from Framber Valdez. So if nothing else, we're looking at these performances from Framber and from Diesel, and we're saying, look, our pitching staff looks to have a good, solid 2 ace foundation, potentially even 3 if you consider Yusei Kikuchi and the way he's been pitching lately and the way he's trending. So this was a great performance from Framber. It was definitely, you look at the final score of 4-0, it felt a whole lot closer. This game felt like a pitching duel through the 7th. Dylan Cease from the Padres and Framber Valdez just going back and forth. This game was so quick. I was making corn tortillas during this game, and I swear, I was like, the game's going to end by the time I'm done making these tortillas. It was wild. Sadly for the Astros, there was not a lot of offense in this game. The Astros only had 2 hits in the entire game. Those hits came from Hayward and Dubon. It is sad that this is all the Astros offense I can talk about. Hayward was 1 for 3 starting in right field, and Dubon was 1 for 3 starting at second. Altuve was the DH, and he was 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. And so was Jordan, 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout, and so was Bregman, 0 for 4, 1 strikeout. Yainer Diaz was 0 for 3. Singleton started first, he was 0 for 3. Pena was 0 for 3 with a strikeout, and Myers was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Only 2 hits, 6 strikeouts as a team. The team was 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position and left 3 on base. Obviously, it was a very awful offensive performance, but I think more than anything else, it was a dominant performance from Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was him in this game. He truly was fantastic. Dylan Cease pitched 103 pitches for 70, and 70 of them were strikes. He almost completed the game pitching 8 1/3 of an inning. And Tanner Scott came in to close out the game for the last 2/3. But Dylan Cease was incredible, and it was super frustrating. And sometimes you just have to give flowers to the other team, and you just have to tip your cap. This situation was tough to watch, but the Houston Astros got dominated by Dylan Cease in this game. And like I was saying, I think this is just a humbling reminder that this is what playoff baseball can be like. You have to focus up and sharpen up on those at-bats. You cannot give away a single pitch. Every single pitch matters, and I think the Astros are going to take this lesson and go. I think it's go time. I think the Astros know that. Sadly, let's check in with Paul's pen pals. Let's go to the pen. It was a really rough day in the bullpen for Caleb Ort, who did not complete even 1/3 of an inning. He pitched to 3 batters. He only pitched 9 pitches, and he gave up 3 home runs on 3 batters. Obviously, 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs. His ERA jumped up to 2.82. Caleb Ort has been really good this season, but as of late, he has really struggled. And in this game, he was attacked. He was straight up attacked by these Padres hitters. I don't think he was tipping pitches. I think they were just attacking, and they were getting good. Caleb Ort is a flamethrower. They're having great exit velocities off of him. It was terrifying. It definitely was demoralizing to watch for Caleb Ort. I was hopeful earlier. Even in August, I was hopeful that Caleb Ort could possibly pitch some high leverage innings, maybe even make it to some big spots in the playoffs the way he was pitching. But as of late, he's really struggled. I think he can find it again, but there is not much time left in the season, so we will see how Caleb Ort can bounce back from this tough outing. Brian King, the rookie lefty, came in to finish up the 8th inning. He ended up pitching the entire inning, giving up 1 hit and picking up 2 strikeouts. Brian King has been so good this rookie season. I'm hoping to see a whole lot more of him the rest of this season, and potentially even in the playoffs as our lefty pitcher, but definitely, hopefully, for some seasons to come. This game was such a tough one. I think it's tough. It's tough to drop a series like this, but this, I think, can be something that's character building for the Houston Astros. I think the season isn't over. It's just a tough loss. It's a tough reminder that playoff baseball is going to have some incredible pitching. So hopefully they can sharpen up, like I am saying. For this episodes, what's the deal with? I think what's the deal with these umpires? Okay, they obviously wanted to make these games about them, so I thought I would go ahead and say, shout out to Brian Onora, Brendan Miller, Chris Conroy, and Shane Levensparger. This officiating crew was the worst officiating crew I have seen in quite some time. The strike zone was all over the place. At times, it didn't seem like anybody on the crew was paying attention to anything. It was infuriating, the missed calls in these games, and it seemed seemingly in this game 2 more than anything else that the officiating crew was just trying to interject themselves into the game, really slowing down and mucking up the game multiple times. With that rules check for Hader in the 8th. And for that hit by pitch check and stuff in the 10th, so many times just slowing down the game, making it about them doing rules checks. Even Joe Espada in the post game press conference was like, I know the rules. They should know the rules. And I'm not trying to be a huge hater. I, like all of you who have listened to this podcast, I've had all of the jobs as a creative multi-hyphenate. I've also been a gig worker. I have worked in so many different jobs in so many different capacities. I actually, very early on in my college years, I was a intramurals referee, and I did umpire some games. It was so tough. It was one of the toughest gigs I ever had, especially, I'm like an 18-year-old. I don't weigh anything. I am the person in charge of calling this game, and people are very mad at me, and I have to just act really sure. I had to, officiating's a tough gig. I get it. I think that there's something to having a human element in officiating, but in this day and age, there's so many ways to use technology to get the call right. And I can't believe that Major League Baseball is not trying to figure out ways to get the call right. I understand, that they're going to have to phase out these umpires, and that, they'll figure out a way to do that. I think there's a way to do that in a way that no one's completely losing their job wholesale or anything like that. But they have all this technology at their disposal. They should be able to get these calls right. It's absolutely absurd that the officiating crew here made these games about them, really slowed down the games at times. It seemed like we're being petty against the Astros at times in certain spots, and then just being petty in general to all the baseball players and slowing down the game and making it about them. I do not understand. I have to stop talking about the officiating. I try not to, because there's so many things to really focus on in baseball games. The officiating is always going to be terrible. Not always going to be terrible, but always going to be human. But in this series, it was absolutely terrible. Let's go ahead and try to move ahead here to the series preview. The Astros go home immediately tonight. They do not collect $200. They go straight home for a 4-game series tomorrow against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So yeah, for that 4-game series, let's kind of take a quick peek at those pitching projected starters here. I am going backwards in my notes. That's not what you're supposed to do, Paul. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do, Paul. Yeah, so Jose Suarez is going to start for the Angels at their first game at Minute Maid. Suarez is a 26-year-old lefty. He's 1 for 2 on the season with a 6.80 ERA and 42 1/3 of an inning pitched with 46 strikeouts and a 1.70 WHIP. So looks like he's a young arm that they're looking to showcase here. Hopefully he is a lefty that the Astros can eat up. We'll see. Sometimes, those unheralded pitchers are the bane of the Astros' existence. He will be pitching against Yusei Kikuchi, who's 9-9 on the season with a 4.29 ERA, 163 2/3 innings pitched with 189 strikeouts and a 1.22 WHIP. Yusei Kikuchi. If I said Jose Kikuchi earlier, I completely apologize. Yusei, I guess it just means I think you're family. But Yusei Kikuchi is the man's real name and proper name. But Jose Kikuchi has a 1.22 WHIP. We're hoping that he does a great job. He has been nothing but great for the Houston Astros since he's joined this team. I really love Kikuchi. I think he is going to be a big help for the Houston Astros going forward as they're pushing towards this AL West title and towards the playoffs. In the second game of the series, the Angels are sending out lefty Tyler Anderson, who really had a good outing against the Astros in their previous series in Los Angeles. Tyler Anderson is 10-13 on the season with a 3.60 ERA, 172 1/3 innings pitched with 136 strikeouts and a 1.25 WHIP. Like I said, this veteran pitched the Astros very well the last time he went up against them in Anaheim. Mr. Anderson might give the Astros some fits, but the Astros are sending out Justin Verlander, the veteran pitcher, trying to solidify the end of his season to show that he should be in the playoff rotation. I truly think the best he can do is 4th in the playoff rotation right now, but that the veteran wants his spot. He's not going to just stop fighting. I think he has what it takes. He's been sharpening his arsenal, and I have a feeling this could be a great outing for Justin Verlander at Minute Maid. JV has, for this season, he's 4-6 with a 5.20 ERA with 79 2/3 innings pitched with 65 strikeouts and a 1.37 WHIP. So yeah, this season stats are not going to look very Verlandian for Justin Verlander, but we're hoping he can jump bounce back here so that he can kind of get his kind of box out Spencer Hergetti and Ronel Blanco for that playoff roster rotation spot, unless you obviously think differently. Obviously, Ronel and Spencer Hergetti have played very well this season. I just think, in my opinion, I think Ronel and Spencer Hergetti are a little gassed. They're a little tired. I think if Justin Verlander can get right, he can be a better option here for the Houston Astros. But, if you disagree with me, you could let me know on social media, let me know on the Substack, or call in on SpeakPipe for the third game here so we can actually see who's in better form. We could see this week against the Angels. Ronel Blanco is going to pitch for the Houston Astros, obviously, trying to figure out where he fits in for the Houston Astros here for a playoff push. The Astros are obviously pushing ahead. We'll get to the AL West watch here. But Ronel Blanco is 11-6 on the season with a 2.88 ERA, 156 and 1/3 of an inning pitched, with 154 strikeouts and a 1.09 whip. He has been incredible, but he has been looking like he's getting tired as of late. In his last outing, he really was missing the zone on all kinds of pitches. So we'll see if Ronel Blanco is doing fairly well in his form here. He will be pitching against Reed Detmers for the Los Angeles Angels. 25-year-old lefty is 4-7 on the season with a 6.05 ERA. 80 and 1/3 of an innings pitched with 94 strikeouts, and 1.43 whip. Another young lefty that they're showcasing here that has had a little bit of a hard time in their abbreviated season in the majors. And for the last game, it's going to be a Sunday matinee. It's going to be some Sunday matinee spaghetti for the Houston Astros as Spaghetti takes the mound. 13 on the season, not exactly the 713 reference you want to see as an H-Town fan. He's a 4.68 ERA, a 136 and 2/3 of an innings pitched, 161 strikeouts on the season, and a 1.43 whip. Spencer Hergetti will be pitching against Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning is 6-13 on the season. Definitely hasn't been that lucky either, with a 5.16 ERA, 162 and 1/3 innings pitched with 123 strikeouts and a 1.39 whip. The Astros obviously have the advantage here with pitching for this 4-game series. It is at home, and obviously the last time we saw the Angels, a lot of their roster was new to me, and I might not be following the Angels closely or anything, but it was a lot of turnover. So it's going to be a really young team, really raw team. So hopefully the Astros can sweep again, get another sweep of the Los Angeles Angels, and make this playoff chase not feel quite as tight as they have been making it feel as of late. Let's kind of get into the AL West here really quickly, obviously, after the Astros play the Angels, they have a 3-game series against the Mariners, which will be a huge series as, the Astros could, as early as the weekend, clinch the AL West. But truly, that's going to mean that they win some games this weekend. I do think that there could be a reality where the Astros have to play, get a game against the Mariners to kind of put them away in the AL West. The Astros are 82-70 right now. The Mariners are 77-74, 4.5 games behind the Houston Astros. And tonight, the Mariners are playing the Yankees. As of the recording of this podcast, the Yankees are up 1-0 on the Mariners in the bottom of the 4th. We'll see if the Yankees actually help the Astros out here. It's been a weird week where Houston Astros fans have been rooting for the Rangers and for the Yankees to do some damage against a division opponent. The Astros obviously are really inching their way to an AL West division title here, but the Mariners are fighting and clawing their way and not going away easy. It will be an interesting series, and then after the Mariners series, we play the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland, and that is the end of the season. The Astros are running out of time here for their season. I really think, let's kind of go to Fangraphs here. I'm always going to Fangraphs to kind of let us know what the projections are here. I thought I had it pulled up here. Let's see. There we go. The playoff odds on Fangraphs here for the Houston Astros. It is a 97.4% chance to win the division and 98.5% chance to make the playoffs. So while it still feels tight, you don't like the Astros losing a game here. They are most likely winning the division and most likely going to the playoffs. They just have to win some games here. They're playing the Los Angeles Angels. They need to win some games, and they need the Mariners to lose some games. There's not a lot of baseball left, so the Astros gotta have a good series against these Angels, and I'm feeling confident that they can do that. And I not because they're easy opponents or anything like that, but because I really feel like after this trip to San Diego, after sweeping the Angels and having a tough series in San Diego, I think these Astros are going to be focused. I think they're going to start to lock in a lot more intensely than they have. They've obviously given good efforts and had good at-bats, but I think the veterans are going to start to lock in and start to really carry this team and start to show the younger players how the big boys play. I think that's going to kind of wrap up our Astros talk for a bit here. You can just call me Fozzie Bear because we're moving right along. Let's get to Paul's picks. So let's kind of look back at NFL Week 2 as how my picks did in Week 2. And first of all, sorry, Joe. My stepdad, Joe, definitely reached out for my picks. Sorry, everyone, I guess, really. But, honestly, 500 is pretty good for this week, NFL Week 2. I was 8-8 with my picks, but it was such an atrocious week. A week full of spoilers and upsets and just unexpected games and unexpected outcomes for sure, I would say. 8-8 is pretty solid. I'll take it for how awful NFL Week truly was. 500's all right. 500 is Hall of Fame. not with NFL picks, but I guess when we're talking about batting average, maybe. Let's kind of look at my Week 2 losses. Obviously, a whole lot more losses than wins this time around. Or a whole lot losses more than last week, I should say. This time around, I picked poorly with Miami losing to Buffalo. They also lost to Tua, their quarterback, in this game. Obviously, very, very tough loss for the Miami Dolphins, but even a tougher loss for Tua and the Dolphins. Depending on Tua, it's tough. So definitely, sending love to Tua. That it's tough when you see somebody have that many concussions. Hoping the best for him, but obviously got that pick wrong. And then the Raiders also beat Baltimore. They beat the Ravens 26-23. What? That was completely unexpected for me. I would never have guessed that in any simulation or any one of these other multiverses out there, and all of the Doctor Strange multiverses. I don't think I picked the Raiders once, but the Ravens are 0-2 on the season, and the Raiders had quite the upset there. Tampa Bay also upset the Lions 20-16. Tampa is a little more real, and I guess the Lions are a little more human than we thought. Another upset here was Green Bay got 16 to Indy's 10. How bad are the Colts? And also a 26-point game. How that just a rough one there. So the Colts are obviously a little bit worse than we thought. The Packers were able to go in there and win one with with unexpected quarterback play from them, to say the least. They didn't expect to rely on that quarterback, is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of nuts. I mean, I think the Colts are not that good to not only just have 10 points, but to get beat in this game. I didn't think they were that bad. Cleveland beat Jacksonville 18-13. Just two very befuddling teams. I mean, Cleveland 18, Jacksonville 13. Another, lower scoring affair there. But these two teams, I don't get these two teams. It's still early in the season. We're just at week 3. But these two teams are befuddling to me. Are they kind of like Bizarro teams? Bizarro teams for me are kind of like a Bizarro Superman, just somebody that just you just completely don't trust. Whatever you feel for them, they generally do the opposite. So, if you think Cleveland is going to win, they're going to lose. If you think they're going to lose, they're going to win. And Jacksonville's that way too for me sometimes. But what happens when they both face off? You can't trust either one of them. Another game I got wrong was Minnesota and the San Francisco 49ers. The Vikings won 23-17. Just wow, not completely got that one wrong. I said Minnesota was the hipster team, the scheming team of the NFL, but man, I did not expect that whatsoever. Another whiff. I whiffed on this one so bad. LA Rams 10, Arizona Cardinals 41. I have to apologize to Carla for getting this one so wrong. This was Carla's dog of the week. It was a very bad pick from me, the LA Rams getting annihilated in this game. Me not trusting the Cardinals offense, thinking they're just a fantasy football offense. I'm starting to believe in this offense. And also, obviously, now going forward, the Rams are pretty banged up now. Their offense is looking pretty worse for wear. So definitely had the wrong feel on this game for sure. And the last game I also got wrong. Atlanta beat Philadelphia 22-21 at the end there. Just absolutely infuriating. I was hoping to take an extra win on the week. How did this even happen? It was a crazy week all around, but it really goes to show that all NFL teams can be good on, as Al Pacino would say, on any given Sunday. Truly a bad NFL team can still find some magic, can still play some good football, and can still catch a team in bad positions or in bad schemes, or just catch a team with their, looking foolish sometimes. It's okay, Carla. You can go up there. Okay. Carla's joined the studio. She's sighing and pouting again. She's wondering how much longer I can talk about football. Well, we still have to get to our picks, Carla. We got to get to your dog of the week. But before we get to our picks this week, I just want to do a very, very quick victory lap here. Paul's pick of the week, the Texans did come through. My pick of the week came through, so I got that one right. And I was also right about the Saints-Cowboys game. I kind of got the feel for that one before people were really feeling good about the Saints, or at least thinking the Cowboys were also just a pretender. I don't know how. I'm not calling the Cowboys pretender. It's going to be a week-by-week thing for the Cowboys for me, but I just felt good about that pick. I got those two picks right, if nothing else. 8 losses and still 8 wins. Let's see here. Let's move ahead to our week 3 picks. I don't have that in my notes here, so we're going to move along. So week 3, we'll get to the Thursday night game here. The Thursday night, Patriots at the Jets. The Jets are favored by 6.5 points. Your over-under is 38.5. You know what? Call me crazy, but I'm taking another swing here. I'm actually taking the Pats as the underdogs here. I don't know about these Jets. Unfortunately, sorry to my Jets friends out there, but I like the Patriots to spoil the party here. not just for points. I'm going for the Patriots to upset here. Now we're cooking without chalk. How do you like me now? I'm not going to go just chalk. I think the Patriots are going to win this from like a coaching type match. I think, obviously the Jets are a better team, but I feel it. Something about the Thursday night game, something about the Jets not really playing good football and the Patriots winning these, or just playing these really close games and playing a little bit better than we expected. I'm picking the Patriots to upset here. Moving on to Sunday, Giants at Browns. The Browns are favored by 6.5 points, and the over-under is 38.5. I'm not repeating the line. Those are just two exact lines back to back. The Giants are too miserable to get an upset here. I may not like the Browns, but they are more of a complete team than the New York Giants. I'm going with the Browns here. The next game here is Bears at Colts. The Colts are favored by 1 point. Over-under is 43.5. The Colts have been ridiculous. And Anthony Richardson is extremely talented, but he's really taking his lumps right now. Maybe it's just recency bias because I saw the Bears play the Texans, and that Bears defense looked legit. But I am betting that the Colts cannot outscore the Bears. I am going with the Bears in this game as the underdogs. The next game is Texans at Vikings. The Vikings are home dogs. They are the underdogs by 2.5 points. The over-under is 46. I think this may be a close game, so this is kind of like a stay away from me. Not just because I'm a fan of the team, but because the Vikings really look good, but I'm not sure exactly how good they are. I'm feeling really iffy about this, but I have to make a pick 'em here. I got to make my pick. So I'm going with the Texans to win, but it's going to be a telling team for both of the teams' coordinators here. In my humble opinion, this is going to be a scheming game for sure. Then we have the Eagles at Saints. The Saints are favored by 2.5 points with an over-under of 49.5. Hopefully some offensive fireworks in this game as well. The Eagles seem to be exercising some demons or figuring some things out, while the Saints seem to have already figured it out with that Kubiak offense. Not the Gary Kubiak offense, that Clint Kubiak offense for Texans fans that remember Gary Kubiak. This is his son. Shout out to Matt Schaub out there. I do think that the Saints win this game. Then we have Chargers at Steelers. Steelers are favored by 1.5 points. 35.5 over-under. The Chargers want to slow it down and play gritty. The Steelers don't ever want to play any other way. This is going to be a defensive battle with a 35.5 over-under. I'm giving it to the home team here with the Steelers taking it. Then we have Broncos at Bucks. The Bucks are favored by 6.5 points. The over-under on this one is 39.5. The Buccaneers might not be as amazing as they appear, but the Broncos are just not good. I'm taking the Bucks at home here. I feel like this is an easy choice. Packers at Titans. Titans are favored by 3 points here. 36.5 over under. I just can't see the Titans winning this game here. I'm sorry, if I said Panthers, I was wrong. Packers at Titans. Packers at Titans. Titans favored by 3 points, and I just can't see the Titans winning this game here. The Packers, I think, are going to upset the Colts at home. I think the Colts are going to end this season with more wins than the Titans. My notes are all over the place. I said the Packers upset the Colts. Sorry. So I think that not at home. I was trying to say that since the Packers upset the Colts, I think the Packers can easily upset the Titans because the Colts, I think, are better than the Titans. But I don't know if they're definitely better than that sentence I just tried to put together. My God, that was confusing. But definitely Packers for the win here to upset the Titans at home. Panthers at Raiders. Raiders are given 5.5 points. They're favored here, 41 over under. The Panthers just look a mess right now, and the Raiders just pulled off an upset. They are favored here, and obviously I'm going with the Raiders as well in this pick. Dolphins at Seahawks is our next game. Seahawks are favored by 4.5 points, 41.5 over under. The Seahawks are truly trending upwards right now, and I think the Dolphins are just looking for answers, not just at quarterback, but just trying to find themselves a little bit. I think the Seahawks win this one. Lions at Cardinals. Cardinals are the home dogs by 3 points. The over-under is 52.5. So this is our fireworks game of lots of offense in this one. But I'm going with my gut here and taking the home dogs. I think the Cardinals are going to pull a big momentum shift in this win and get a win against the Detroit Lions, who I still think are good. I still think they're going to have a great season, but every team is going to lose a couple games. I'm just feeling this one here. I think the Cardinals get the upset. Next game is Ravens at Cowboys. Cowboys are underdogs by 1.5 points. 48.5 over under. I cannot go with the home dogs here. When I asked my gut, it sounded like I had IBS. I think Ravens on the road for this one. Either way, one team walks away feeling terrible about its future after this game. I think the Ravens take it. The next game is 49ers at Rams. The Rams are underdogs by 7.5 points here. 43 over under. I'm with the odds makers here. Obviously, the 49ers should win this one easily. The Rams are hurt, and the 49ers are looking for a bounce-back win. Chiefs at Falcons. Falcons are underdogs by 3.5 points. Your over-under here is 46.5. Falcons may have gotten lucky, but I don't think they can outlast an upset Chiefs team wanting a win. Chiefs take this one. Then we have a Monday night doubleheader. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 5.5 points. 45.5 over under. I really don't believe in the AFC South. Call me a hater if you want, but I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars win. I'm taking the Bills with this one here, easily getting the win. Then we have Commanders at Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 7.5 points with a 48.5 over-under. The Bengals may actually be a bizarro team. My whole life, I've never felt good about betting, with the Bengals when I feel good about them. I can't envision any world in which the Commanders take this game, though. So I'm really stuck between a rock and a hard place. But for some reason, I know I feel strongly about the Bengals, and I feel like they're going to lose just to prove me wrong. But I'm going to go with the Bengals anyway, because I truly don't think the Commanders can win this game. But if you're a Commanders fan, I guess you should feel good about this. It's kind of like a reverse jinx of sorts. But I'm going with the Bengals here. My Paul's pick of the week, I think it truly is going to the 49ers. I think the 49ers and at Rams, I don't think there's a way in which the Rams can win that game. 7.5 is a big spread, but yeah, I think the 49ers win it. And for Carla's dog of the week, she has lots of options here, and she is obviously upset with my last week pick going against the Cardinals and really making me and her look foolish. We have good options here. We could go with the Bears being the dogs. We could go with the Packers. We could go with the Cardinals. But Carla is in on the Cards. Cardinals are the dog of the week. Let's see here. So for our picks, obviously, I had a tough week last week. I am in that Pick'em league with a bunch of my friends, my Huckle Pick'ems there. Overall, on the season, I am 21-11 right now for the whole season. That's good enough for me to be tied for second place in my league. Definitely had a rough week with some of those picks, hoping to bounce back this week myself. Truly, I think whether or not Joe is going to ask me for my picks anymore is on the line, and Sarah might not listen to me too either going forward if I keep messing up. So hopefully I have a nice bounce back week, improve that winning percentage. Doing a fantasy football check-in here. Week 2 went a whole lot better for me than week 1 did. I was able to beat Kelly Harkins in the Thunder Bears League that I have with all my friends. I beat Joel McHale's a dick, which is his team, 116.92 to 82.8. So very happy that I could beat Kelly Harkins. I'm playing my friend Brian Nichols next, and I'm taking you down, baby Brian Nichols. I am taking you down. One last segment before we wrap up this podcast. We're visiting Dynamo Corner. That is right. We are such big Houston fans here that we are even fans of the football team. Not the NFL football team, but the football team. The Dynamo tied the Vancouver Grizzlies today 1-1 in their match, in a midweek matchup, as they are making their way to another playoff appearance. They're trying to stay in that 7th place there. 1-1 this game. They're now 12-9-8 on the season. Let me pull up my Dynamo app. That's right. I have the Houston Dynamo app because, of course, I do. They are still 7th in the West behind the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are 6th. So they are still in that playoff chase. And for the Find the Imposter game that we played last week on Dynamo Corner, I read out names. 4 of them were real Dynamo players on the roster, and the other player was a fictional player I completely made up. If they are a real person, it wasn't on purpose. But congratulations to whoever picked Jan Johan out of the list. Jan Johan does not play for the Houston Dynamo. I don't think. He sounds like maybe he could be a soccer player, but I completely made him up. Congratulations to anybody who got that right. And that's going to do it for this transmission, Space Cadets. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I very much appreciate it. We are a small podcast. We only go as far as our listeners take us. So if you've gotten this far, please smash some buttons for me, like, rate, and review this podcast. Turn on those automatic downloads and share with other Houston fans out there that need a little bit of love in their life. They want a little bit of Astros fandom in their ears. Definitely check out the Substack, spacecadetsports.substack.com. Put your email into that field there, and you get every post, every article, every meme dump, every podcast, and occasional video podcast emailed directly to you for free. Or if you're like me, you can get the Substack app. Search Space Cadet Sports, and when that orange astronaut pops up, subscribe there. Click that you want notifications instead of emails. You get a completely mobile experience instead of emails. I like that as well. Reach out to me on social media. Let me know how my picks are doing for you, or if you're just going against my picks now. Maybe that's what you're doing now that I'm 500. You're just gonna do the reverse. Let me know how your picks are doing this season so far. Reach out on social media at Paul Salazar Jr. I'm active on all the cool platforms. Definitely reach out, or you can call in. Obviously, this isn't live, but you can leave a voicemail. Let me know what you think. Give me your take, or let me know how your picks are doing. Reach out at speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. Once again, that's speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. Thank you so much for listening. We very much appreciate all of your support. We are a passion project podcast, but if you want to support, you can definitely reach out on that Substack. You can subscribe, and you can support the podcast for a very, very low monthly or annual subscription. We are a small podcast, so there's not a lot of perks as much as you're just helping out the podcast, helping us get better equipment, helping Carla the dog get better treats. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to be the best that you can be. Keep your head up, kid. And as always, vamos Houston.